We see that near from other places also. 1 second. All right, 1 sec. All right, so here we go. Where is it? What's going on? Here we go. Okay, there we go. All right, so I have us at the bottom of page Kaf Hey. That's where I have us on the column of the Tiva Kavanos. The Tiva Kavanos says he had mentioned. Let's see. He said previously. Okay, there are 3 different bechinos. Harishon hu bebechinas havaya ekya. So we discussed that a little bit. Misparo mem zayin 47. Now we're on the second one. Hasheni hu bebechinas havaya elokim umisparo, and it is our old friend Yabuk. Let me see if I can find there we go. Yabuk. Then it says, Yichud Hasheni hu bebechinas shiluv the Havaya Elokim Kazeh. You combine them into a name that looks like this. The Hadachar hu Havaya Ola Ko, Elokim shehu HaMalchus Ola Po, V'yachad Heim Begematria Yabuk. V'hu B'chagat, and this would be in Chagat, the shlish of Chagat. Okay, so then let's go on. So he says, Misparo is Tzadi Aleph. It's 91. Yichud Shlishi b'Bechinas Shiluv Havaya v'Adnik. It looks like this. He says, Hu derakal dacher hu Havaya Ola Ku. It's the male, which comes out to 26, and Adni. Shehu Malchus Ola Samachay Beyachad Heim Gematria Tzadik Aleph Hu Benai, and this is in the 9. Okay, let's go on. Ulapamim Misyach de Bechina Achas. Sometimes they come together in one bechina. Yesh Zamanim Shazun Misyach de Berak Bechina Chatachtoina. Mekulam. So exactly what would be the situation, not sure. And he said, sometimes that you have a yichud of 2 of these elements. Seems like a little vague to me. So you have these 2 shaluvim going together. And then it looks like this and like that. You have the 2 of them together. And then he said, Lapame b'shloshtam. And sometimes they have all of them together. So it makes a gematria of near. That they also have this upper yichud, he calls it now. Shuhu havaya ekya. This is the highest level of yichud. So it looks like that and like that. And then you're talking about the real complete yichud. This is the ultimate yichud. Every so Shmona Esrei has that, and there's a complete yichud that takes place there. V'az ha-nook nikra ner. When that happens, the nook is called a ner. V'az, which is a gematria. V'az k'shemiz yachdera b'shlosha ha-yichudim. So then when we have these 3 yichudim together, nikras ha-nook ner. Ki shlosha yichudim in this karim a gematria ner. So which is a yichud, the rishon havai ela is. So you're just going to go through this. This is at Maz. And then the Sheni is going to be the gematria of Yabok, and the Shlishi is going to be the gematria of Sadik Aleph. V'shloshta Rabiyakad Olam Communion Ner. He says that is Gemisbar of Shemos and Iskarim, which is once again the gematrias. Hainu via Ekya, so he goes through them again. V'yachad Heimshishu Shemos. Together, you actually have, there are 3 shaluvim of 2, which is 6. Heimshishu Shemos, Shishu Shemos. Shishu Shemos, Ela Olam Gemisbar Ner, Kanisker. So let's see. Okay, well, that's where we stop right here. Okay, let's go back and see if there's some juicy tidbits. Let's see, where would Yud Gimel be? Yud Gimel would be right in line here. Where's Yud Base? Okay, Yud Base, Yud Aleph, and Yud Base. Okay, so let's go down and look at the. Bring this down a little bit further. And let's look at this. Number Yud Aleph. Ki shlosha bechina shel yichud yesh lazon. So he says, Kavana zu, his ba'arach or ba'arichos, b'kavanas shovavim, bisfareno b'tiv hatshuva. Over there. Number Yud Beis, the zun. What is the zun? Yud Beis goes on to Ki Shlosha Bechinas Shel Yichud Yesh Zun. Masha Amar of Sheyesh Bezun Shlosha Bechinas Shel Yichud, that there were 3 different kinds of Yichud here. Ena Kavana, the parts of Zun Davka. It's not talking about just Parshas Zun. Hello. Because zivug shall dacher v'nook, anytime you have a mating of male and female, shall call parts of it, whatever parts of that would be, yesh bechem shlosha bechinos, elu, they always have these 3 bechinos. V'bein b'Yakov v'Rachel, v'bein b'Yisrael v'Leah, v'bein Yisrael v'Rachel, v'bein b'Abba b'Ima, all of them have what? You have an ultimate zivug, you have all of these 3 aspects. Let's go on to number Yud Gimel. Bebechinas Avaya Ekya, Bebechinas Avaya Elokein, Bebechinas Avaya Adne. So going over this. I'm Betivakavona, so look over there, we just did. Shekasav Pashtos Ksav Arizal, which is really, we wrote about that in regards to that. He says, Shenekta Hasidar Ashkenazim, Siduri Akanajim Ambar al Pi Derek Mahalach Rishash Zal. So what are we saying here? Shahu al Pi Hamavur Bedrash Hadas the Marchol. Who Bederek Acher is in a different way. Shall Yichud the Rishon shall Levaya Ekya who Bekeser. So this is just like like a lineup question of how we see it. He says the Yichud, let's say it again, Sheyichud the Rishon Shel Havaya Ekya is the Havaya of Keser. The who Nikra Zivug HaNashik, the Nashikin, it's called that. The level of the mouth is the level of Nashikin, or the head at the top. V'chayichud the Sheni Shel Havaya Elokim Hu B'Chabad. V'Nikra Zivug the Hibuk. So Hayicha the Shlishi Shechavaya Adni, who designed Tachtonis at the Zat, who Nikra Zivug the Sodos, Ugavar Be'arno Inyan Zerabegavana Shovavim. So apparently Gavana Shovavim is part of this deal. Let's look at number Yudalot. Number Yudalot says, L'pamim misyachadem b'bechina achas, l'pamim b'b'shteihem, l'pamim b'shloshta. Yesh devarer hecha matzina zemanim ge'elu. So where do we find these times where there's only a yichud of one of them? And he says, Ashecha yichud rak be'echad bechem, o b'shtayim, o b'shlomo, lefi sidur Ashkenazim, Shelo holku b'derek of Rishash, But Sinim Kama Pamim Bechinas Ke'elu, we see a lot of different situations like that, really. Kugon Beyichud Shalom Bavarach as Atzmo as Amo Yisrael B'Shalom. Okozvu L'Kaven Rak Yichud Havaya Elokim, and over there's a statement that you should be just talking about the Yichud of Havaya Elokim. There's lots of different things about that. Examples. Amnam the derek of Rishash yesh na'ayin, but if we look at the way that the Rishash sees it, the whole call yichud cedar yichud ner, that every single time when there's a yichud, according to the Rishash, there's a ner involved. Behind the yichud via ekia bekeser via elokim bechabat via adni bezat. Now that's really pretty much the same statement we saw up above. Ve'ein yichud she'ein bo kol elu shlosha. There is no yichud that does not have this ner concept in it. So he says, well, we'll see if we could find out something about it that would tell us more about it. V'him came ma kavana serav sheyesh pa'amim shebisyachlim rak b'kavana achaz v'yesh pa'amim she'just shtayim v'yesh the taret. So we can answer like this: Al pi ma shekasa b'priya etz chaim. Where's it say that Shara Chanukah? He says kashabir as a shlosha yichudim elu kosav. So when he's explaining this, he writes. He said the nook omedes benai shalom. When she's standing in the lower element, we're assuming on his backside, and she's just as tall as his nai, ha-yichud ku havaya adni. Okasha omedes, and when she's standing, ha-kenega the chazeh, shalo, ha-yichud havaya elokim, okasha omedes, she's taller, shava b'shava, ad, until she reaches his height, ad the keser shaloch hayichud chavaya ekya ein sham. The fee zecha v'yesh the voyer zecha the hain that is amnam shebekol yichud nechlalim kol hayichudim. Okay, I thought it was something different, so let's see what he says. So he says that this is just the position, not just, but this is the position of the Rishash. But they're still in an earlier layer. They're going to be a yichud there, but they're only at the level of the nai. Behind the shemekabelis rock chetzia the tzalim, hatzadi the tzalim. Sorry, the behind the shemekabdim rock hatzadi the tzalim. So we're talking about bina and the different levels of bina that are. I guess we're talking about bina because he's talking about the tzaddik, the tzalim coming into Zer Antin through the yesod of Ima, shehu b'kol yimel sechol, which is the normal way that this goes every day. Nechshav yichud shalahem ke yichud havaya adni, shehu yichud the tachton, which is going to be the lower level of the yichud. Now he said, but we want to say, in other words, it has a. What we say that it has a label, or it's called by the name of, by the positions that it's in, and at the nai level, that's the level of avaya adni. So he said, "B'kol shloshi yichudim, b'kol makom b'klalos nikra yichud zecha avaya adni. B'kol shlosha nechlalim bo, and then all of the rest of them are in it. Now it's called by that name. L'gomo kain b'leil Shabbos. What happens on Yale Shabbos? Shemasigin Azun Kumas Chagat, that they reach the level of the column of Chagat. In other words, they're up higher towards the chest. This is the nook is up higher in the chest. The Hainu Shemekablim Lama the Tzalim. Now she's going to be able to get the Makif, the Lama the Tzalim. Nechshav Yichud Shalachem Yichud Avaya Elokim V'Chavaya Adni. Now we having as if there's a yichud from both lower elements, which is chagat nai. V'kevin shemesigin gevucha v'kumas chagat shehu keneged devaya elokem But she wants to be the same height, or that she's going to be. Shehu b'musaf Shabbos, it takes place at the Musaf of Shabbos. Hu hayichud the shalom be'emes, so this is the complete and total yichud. V'yesh lahal here shebepri eitz chaim sham behemshech hadrashas. He goes on and explains this a little bit more. But the drush, k'shebevukah behefech b'ner Shabbos the ner Chanukah, the bechanukah umedes amdala b'makom manai, because here we have the nai of Eric Anpen, of Zera Anpen. They have the nai of Zera Anpen, and they've reached that height. But where she's at, she gets all of the Yehudim anyway. So this is the reason why you have to be below 10 amos for the place of the menorah. Shesham makom al malchus benai, because in that place is where the malchus and the nai are for. So let's see what he says. Shesham makom al malchus benai, that is on the nai of Zeranpeh. When it's not going to go higher. So he says, I am Sham, v'nimsa shebachanukah na'asim kol l'shloshi yichudukim b'chusha kosav kan, begavonas bracha rishona, begavonas tevis ner, have all of this in mind. Aval l'chidish b'chanukah, but the big thing about Chanukah, that chidish, who should call yichudim elu nimshakim el nook, lamata b'makom manai, they all come down to her, down below, which is in the place of the nai. This is the place where the Shefa is coming to them. But the Sefer Hasidus, Richel Harbecha b'malachas Chanukah be'inyan zeh, she'nimshachim kol ha'oros lamata, that we see all of the lights standing downwards. Okay, so that's that idea a little bit. So let's see. Yizboyer kavanas habracha shel hadlakas ner Chanukah. So he doesn't say ner shel Chanukah, it's ner Chanukah. So he said v'hine bebracha rishona shehi lahadlik ner Chanukah nirmazu shaloshdam. Then you say a reference there to all three. Bebracha shniya shehi she'aso nisim nirmuz hashenis. There's a reference there to this second bracha of Hasheni, nirmuz Hasheni. Ubebracha shlishi shehu shehachiyanu nirmuz atachtona mekulam. It's atachtona mekulam. It's a reference to the lower element. So let's see the lower place of flow. So he says Tes Vav. He says Hine. We're down below in the Shefa Kavanos. This one on the phrase V'hine bebracha rishona nirmuz shaloshtam. Leish tahavin lama nirmuz shaloshtam ke'echad bebracha rishona. So why is it that the one bracha has all three of them in it? V'harvish shlosha brachos chem keneged shlosha yichudim. The three brachos really have to do with the three different types of yichudim. Gemosha mamshech of v'omer b'shabracha shniya keneged yichud hasheni really has to do with the second yichud. And then that third bracha, which we don't say every day, of a bracha shlishi keneged yichud hashlishi. V'im came lama nirmazu shloshtam ke'echad kuvar bebracha rishona. So then why do we say that in the first bracha all of them come in? The hinder, that is, all of the neros are, that is, the ner is lit. V'hindecha behemshech, I guess, v'hindecha behemshech advarach the command, maybe marchu masha matzacha bekuntras acher, something that he found elsewhere. The kavin b'chavavaya shel baracha rishona deva kavana, about the first bracha, rak v'yached l'yichud harishon. Now, what does this mean? V'kein kaz v'cha kavana b'kol hasidurim. Masha Omer Khan Shebebracha Rishona Nirmaz Shlosha Yehudim. HaKavanot Hi Shehem Nirmazim B'Tevis Ner HaOlam Mizbar Shlosha Yehudim. I'm not sure I understood this. So one more time, he says, V'chein B'Kos V'HaKavanot B'Kol HaSidurim. Masha Omer Khan Shebebracha Rishona, that is the first bracha. Nirmazu Shlosha Yehudim. We have there a reference to 3 different Yehudim. The HaKavanot Hi Shehem Nirmazim B'Tevis Ner, and the idea is that in the world Ner, which here means candle, Ha'olam Mizbach Shlosha Yehudim, which comes out to be those 3 Yehudim, G'mo Kein Mosif L'Kaman Od Kavanim Ayin Zeh, so something we'll see later on, the cave of L'Kaven B'Tevis L'Hadlik over there, Shehu Misbar Shemas Havaya shall call Shlosha Yehudim V'tzarach Ion, which comes out to be the count of the Havaya of all of the Shlosha Yehudim. So we'll have to go through that and see that as we're coming up to it. So now we're in a different place. I think we're in, here we are. So he said, V'hidecha bebracha b'shona. Now I'm up at I guess we'll read in the Tiv. So he said, bebracha b'shona shehid lahadlik ner nirmos shloshnam. There's a reference to all 3 of these. Bebracha b'shona. Rishona Meromez kol shlosha yehudim, and the first one is a reference to all 3 of them. Ki milus ner. Maybe I said this already. It comes to that gematria. B'bracha shneira shehu she'also nisim nirmazo hashenis. You see, there's a reference here to the 2nd level, which is the level of Chagat. Shehi she'also nisim, which is this phrase. Is v'dir v'zecha v'yichud hashniya shehu havaya v'elokim, which is havaya and elokim. V'yizboyer l'kamana. We'll explain this later on. Then he says, the bracha shlishis, when they come to the 3rd bracha, shehi shehachiyanu, nir mezuzah tachtonecha mekulim, there is the reference to the lowest of the Yehudim, the Yehuda, I guess, of Yisodos. I guess, because that seems to me that would be and from other places it would be the ultimate. Here he says it has to do with the position of the nook in relationship to Zeranpin. So he said, "V'nirmezah tachtona mekulim b'bracha shlishi shehi hashachiyonu nirmezah yichud tachtona mekulim hanacha v'vaya ba'adni v'yisboyer l'kamon." He's got to explain that. So v'zecha b'masha b'tzansa b'kuntras acher. So this explains atan is boyer l'kava b'tevis ner. Shebebracha b'rishona shlosha yehudim ana with a b'pasha. So the hindach below milui. That is, I'm not sure what he means by that. Is a middle atach b'mevi marchu b'makom acher shemisham nirish yesh the kavan shemos ela b'milui, that you have these all kept the kavana for them in a milui form. Kechavavaya rishona she'im ekya, so the first avaya with an ekya. Tihiera b'milui yudin, the ava would be in the milui of yudin for Av, because we would make it like that. The Hainach of Avayach of Rishon, the Shalayichud of Rishon, the Hira B'milu Yudin Kazan. And then the gematria is 72, which is a gematria of Av, which is 72. Then he said, V'chavayach Hasheni, so the 2nd Avayach, which is Elokim, Avayach Elokim, he desag. So now you're going to see that the milui is going to be different. For Havayach Hashniya, Sha'ana b'yachdim im Elokim t'kaven Havayach the sag. We should have in mind of the sag kazan, and then he shows you sag, which is very much the same as av, but it only has an aleph in the vav. For Havayach Hashlishi shehim adni hi Havayach dema. So that fine one to cover the by the ma and like this. Now you put them all together. These 3 havayos. Chutz v'mashin is bar atach b'gavanas yichud ner. What does that mean? Sheyesh the Kavan Shemas Havaya B'Milui, so that we're going to do this in Havaya of Milui. And also to make a yichud with all the rest of the names, Mosif Kan Od Kavanot the Kavan B'Shemas Havaya Levadam. V'hainu Havaya the Av Sheyachadoch Im Ha'ekya. V'Havaya the Sav Sheyachadano, that's the word Yachdano, Im Elokim. V'Havaya the Ma Sheyachdano Im Adni. So where do you see this combination? Shuhu begematria asam shel lahadlik. Shemas havaya anal sarek l'kave b'miluis lahadlik. Shetevas lahadlik im akolo ola gemizbar av sagma sheola kuf pei 180. Min akya shebechiber pavaya the ab the yudim gam hu yibe milu yudin shu kaza would be kaza. So now we're going to do that too. Mosif shagam sham, it adds that also over there. We're going to stop over here in a second. Kedam sham sheim avaya the ab the yudin hayda chabiyichu the rishon shal avaya the akya. Yesh the kabdav gam came b'milui the hind of b'milui yudin she'ola kasi kazeh like this ki kamosha havavaya ku b'milui yudin kain gam osim as a akia b'milui yudin. Okay, we're gonna have to sort of like stop there, and wishing you a wonderful Shabbos and blessings to you and your family. All the best. Thank you for learning with me.